Hey, thanks for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening. This is the Maryland Injury Attorney Podcast. I am your host and attorney, Jobeth Bowers. We are here to cover a variety of topics involving injuries that happen within the state of Maryland. Thanks for joining us. Today, we are going to talk about Maryland's new uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage law. This is something that went into effect in 2018. And we're going to cover what it does for you and how you need to call your agent and get this coverage. It's actually kind of tricky the way that this coverage came into effect. Your insurance agent is not going to automatically offer this to you unless you are getting a brand new policy. Usually that happens if you're changing companies or something like that. So what you need to ask for is enhanced underinsured motorist coverage. Why do you need this? Well, when we're out there driving and accidents happen, obviously we don't plan on these things happening. You don't get to pick who hits you, who they're insured with, or if they're even insured at all. And what goes with that is also, we don't get to pick how much insurance the other driver has. When it comes to auto insurance in Maryland, there are limits on the amount of coverage that the other driver's insurance has to pay you if you are injured in an accident. Where does this come into play? If you're injured badly, I'm talking broken bones, I'm talking surgeries, other things like that that my office deals with all the time, you may be limited in how much money we can actually get for you by the other driver's insurance. If you add this enhanced underinsured motorist coverage to your policy, which is really only going to cost you a couple dollars a month, if that, your auto insurance policy will stack on top of the other driver's policy. So if they only have a $30,000 policy and you have a $30,000 policy, under the old law and without the enhanced coverage, you will only be able to get the $30,000 from their policy. If you have the new enhanced coverage, even if you only have that minimum $30,000, which we never advise, your $30,000 would stack on top of their $30,000, and you'd have a $60,000 maximum recovery, substantially better than just being stuck with their 30 grand. There's really no end to how this can happen. So if the other driver actually has good insurance and you or somebody, a family member or a passenger in your vehicle is hurt very badly, even if they have $100,000 worth of coverage and your vehicle has $100,000 worth of coverage, if you have the expanded, enhanced, underinsured motorist coverage, the maximum recovery then becomes $200,000. All you got to do, call your insurance agent and say, hey, do I have enhanced underinsured motorist coverage? If not, what do I do to get it? Like I said before, it's usually a handful of dollars a month. You'll barely even notice it, and you'll absolutely thank me if you ever need to use it. You're probably wondering what I'm talking about when I reference the maximum amount of recovery that we can get. So when we're talking about insurance, there's a common misnomer that gets floated around about having full coverage. A lot of people think that, hey, I've got full coverage, I'm all set. That's not always the case. In Maryland, like any other state, when we buy insurance, it's actually like buying a cup of coffee. Full coverage is like going and buying a cup of coffee. You're going to get a full cup of coffee. But when you go into your favorite coffee shop, whether it be the local one down the street, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you like to go, there's a variety of different sizes of cups that you can buy. You can buy that teeny little 8-ounce cup of coffee. You're going to need another one by 10 a.m. You could buy the big box of Joe at some of these places that I can bring that into the office and be good for everybody in the office till the middle of the day. Insurance coverage works the same way. When I buy that cup of coffee, they're going to give it to me full. The question and what's important is how much coffee is in that container. When we buy insurance in Maryland, there's a minimum, that small cup of coffee for liability, which is what the obligation, the maximum obligation of the insurance company to pay out on an injury case. And we're talking about severe catastrophic injuries, the surgeries, the broken bones, things like that, life-changing injuries, insurance companies can sell you as little as $30,000. And that's it. That means if we were to go to trial and get $1 million verdict in a case like yours, the insurance company is going to send us a check for 30 grand because that's all they're obligated. Now you can get $30,000 worth of coverage, $50,000, $100,000 worth of coverage, and even more. I always advise to get as much as you can afford because you never know when that accident might happen. And I tell my clients all the time, you don't get to pick who hits you. You don't get to pick who they're insured by, if they're insured at all, and certainly not how much insurance they have. So make sure you're taking a look at your own policy to make sure that you're covered. So thanks for listening to the Maryland Injury Attorney Podcast, and be sure to subscribe so you can get all of our tips and hints on injuries throughout the state of Maryland and how to be prepared for them. Thank you.